For the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about how this push to play bigger in life and business can be really damaging, and how I advocate instead for an idea I call playing smaller. Today, I want to get really clear about what I mean by playing smaller. As I said last week, it does not mean shrinking yourself or your goals. This isn't thinking smaller or being smaller. What I'm talking about is playing, meaning how you approach life, the actions, the doing, how you show up. As a reminder, patriarchy needs you to buy into the idea of playing bigger, because inherent in that is the idea of producing and consuming. You must produce or work harder to achieve all of the things that you want. And then you must acquire to consume or get all of the things that are a part of that dream, the stuff. And in your production and in your consumption, you are benefiting those who make money off of people working harder and buying more. Playing smaller means no longer buying into the patriarchal notion that bigger and faster trump all else. To do that, you must opt out of all of the tools the patriarchy uses to reinforce those ideas. Wrapped up in playing bigger are things like perfectionism, hyperproductivity, the burden of expectation, a need for external validation, comparison, self-doubt or imposter syndrome, and loads of self-judgment. You need to do it all, achieve it all, get it all, and do it perfectly and now. The results of all of your efforts need to net you exactly what you expect in the way you expect it. How you feel now is of little importance, at least compared to the promise of how you will feel when you reach those goals. And the only way to really know how well you're doing at playing bigger is to judge yourself and your results to everyone else. And when any of that doesn't work out, and it often doesn't, then you feel like a failure. Whew, that's a lot of trying to control the mostly uncontrollable. And it definitely sounds like a lot of tension, stress, overwhelm, struggle. Wouldn't it feel nice to release all of that? That's the idea behind playing smaller. Rather than pushing to have it all perfectly, and now you take small, deliberate steps, focusing on your emotional safety versus speed. Rather than unrealistic expectations and trying to control outcomes, you set goals while also allowing the future to unfold and finding joy in the discovery. Rather than comparing yourself, you release judgment of others and yourself in favor of simply being curious. Rather than beating yourself up when things don't go as planned, you give yourself permission to be messy and to love yourself through it. Rather than exchanging your current comfort for the promise of future joy, you create contentment in the here and now. How do you make this shift? Boiling it down to its core, I think it's about practicing unflinching self-compassion to rebuild self-trust. With those things in place, you become unstoppable. By self-compassion, I mean recognizing your truest needs. Not what society, religion, family, or anything or anyone else tells you you should want, but what your truest self needs to feel content and safe. That may mean setting smaller goals, or it may mean having monumental goals, but giving yourself more time to reach them. And it could mean letting go of all goals in favor of finding fulfillment and contentment right now. The only way to determine your version of playing smaller is to learn to listen to your truest self and your true needs. And for most of us, that's really hard to do. We have been so deeply indoctrinated into these systems that benefit from us not considering ourselves, our needs. Most of us have never learned to hear our true self, to listen to our deepest needs, to trust our inner knowing. And that's where my work comes in. I help women, femmes, and thems learn how to quiet the patriarchal noise and finally listen to, trust, and protect themselves. It's not easy work, but it's absolutely possible. I've seen person after person go from feeling rushed stressed, tired, overwhelmed, miserable, to calm, peaceful, wise, fulfilled, content. I've seen person after person go from chasing, pursuing, clinging to these big dreams that they think they should want, what they thought would finally make them happy, to releasing, allowing, surrendering to what is, and realizing that they can have joy right now. And guess what? I work with really smart, ambitious people. They aren't throwing their dreams in the garbage and giving up. If I told them to do that, they would run away from me quickly, as they should. They're still working towards big things. They're just doing it now in a way that finally feels good. Are you interested in learning more? Everything I teach is available to you inside of the Gutsy Boss Club. It's an intimate membership for smart, high-achieving people who are ready to get off the patriarchal hamster wheel of productivity without having to give up their dreams. This is for people who are ready to feel like the boss of their own world and not an employee of patriarchy. You get access to my 3-month self-study program that teaches you everything about no bullshit mindset strategies. Everything I teach from an intersectional feminist lens. There's no toxic positivity, no toxic masculinity to be found. You also get bi-monthly group coaching calls with me, a community of like-minded people doing the damn work, and a bunch of other really fun goodies to keep you engaged. Investing in a space like this is the best way to learn how to slow down and feel better, and to help you stick with your personal development journey, even when the world around you is doing everything in its power to stop you. You can learn more at gutsyboss.com. But in the meantime, to wrap up this series about playing smaller, I want to share with you 3 questions. I think they can be really useful when it comes to making decisions for yourself, your goals, your life, from a place of relentless, unflinching self-compassion. Number 1, what's the most loving thing I could do for myself right now? Number 2, what would feel good to do? Number 3, is what I'm about to do helpful or harmful? Or another way to look at it, is it nurturing or defeating to myself? Thank you so much for watching and for giving this playing smaller concept a try.